This officially is the 51st Dragon by Haywood Broun. That's the author. Now you need to realize that sometimes I miss a word or two. This is 50-something years since I memorized it. Okay?
It's a little more than 50-something.
Well, I was a senior in high school. That would have
Right.
been 1956.
Okay. 1956 he did this.
All right. Now, buyer beware, whatever it is, Hattie, there aren't any swear words in it. And there's nothing really out of line except there's some extremes in some of the things they're talking about. And you have to realize also it's in kind of an English setting. I'm not going to use an English accent.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Of all the knights at the night school, Gawain was the least promising. He was tall, sturdy of stature, but shy and timid by nature. When the other students would go down to the South Meadow to practice jousting, Gawain, like a coward, would slink into the woods, and even their most joyous shouts for him to "Come back and get your neck broken like a man" wouldn't bring Gawain back. One day, the professor and I gotta get that one. Well, anyway, he's the boss, and the assistant professor met to decide Gawain's fate. To the president, well, I've lost that word.
President.
To the headmaster. To the headmaster, there was but one decision. No, to the assistant professor, there was but one choice: expulsion. But no, said the headmaster, I'll teach him to slay dragons. Oh, are the dragons particularly bad this time of year? Asked the assistant professor. Oh, indeed they are, said the headmaster. Why, only last week a dragon devoured 2 presents and a prize cow down in the South Meadow. But he might be hurt, said the assistant professor. Yes, so he might, said the headmaster, except I'm going to give him a magic word. Oh, a magic word, said the assistant professor. They sometimes do wonders. So from that day forth, Gawain was taught to slay dragons. In the mornings, he attended classes where he learned about the physical, mental, and social historical background of dragons. Here he did not excel, as he had a rather poor mind for remembering, just like the teller of the story. But in the afternoon, when he was allowed to go down to the South Meadow to practice, Gawain stood out. Some students who used to watch him said that he would charge across the meadow with such ferocity, and with one blow of his battle axe would sever the head of the paper dragon. Finally, when paper dragons gave way to wooden dragons, Gawain still cut off their heads with one blow of his battle axe. And then one morning, after a dragon had been dangerously close to the school and had nibbled some lettuce in the garden, the headmaster decided it was time for Gawain to be graduated. So he was given a diploma and a new battle axe and called into the headmaster's office. "Sit down, my boy," said the headmaster. "Have a cigarette." Gawain took the cigarette, and when the headmaster offered him a light, Gawain produced his own and began to puff on the cigarette with amazing dexterity. "Before you go out to slay dragons," said the headmaster, "I'm going to give you something with which no dragon can possibly harm you." "I like an enchanted cap," said Gawain. "An enchanted cap, indeed, what for, my boy?" To make me invisible," said Gawain. "My boy," said the headmaster, You are invisible. You haven't appeared yet. Why, if you were to walk from here to London, no one would notice you. The next morning, the headmaster and the assistant professor got Gwaine out of the bed, and pushed him towards the edge of the forest. There was a fairly large cloud of mist above the forest, and Gwaine was told that underneath that cloud of mist he would find a dragon. Now, Gwaine didn't know whether he should approach the dragon saying Oh, wait a minute, gotta go back up. So, gotta get to the magic word. So it says, I'm going to give you a magic word. And with that, the headmaster took a book down from the shelf and began to thumb through it. Ah, it's a splendid magic word. Rumpelstiltskin. Do you think you could master it? After about an hour's practice, Gwaine seemed to have the word well in hand. In between lessons, he would interrupt and say, and if I only say Rumpelstiltskin, the dragon can never harm you. To which the headmaster always replied, the dragon can never harm you if you will only say no Rumpelstiltskin. The next morning, the headmaster and the assistant professor got Gwaine out and led him to the edge of the woods. There was a rather large cloud of mist above the forest, and Gwaine was told that somewhere underneath that cloud of mist he would find a dragon. Gwaine didn't know whether he should approach the dragon yelling Rumpelstiltskin all the way, or just what he should do. However, it was very quickly decided for him, for as soon as the dragon saw him, it charged, and Gwaine had time only to utter Rumpelstiltskin once and swing his battle axe. But he cut off the head of the dragon. Gwaine cut off the tail of the dragon and a pair of the ears, and took them back to the school. Now the headmaster thought it best not for it to tell anyone how Gwaine came to achieve his fame, so on every good day Gwaine was sent out to slay dragons. Hardly a day passed that Gwaine didn't bag a dragon. On one occasion, he got 3, a husband and wife and a visiting relative. And once, some students who used to watch him said he would often let the dragon get within several feet of him before he would say Rumpelstiltskin and cut off its head. Once when a sightseeing, Gwaine, like all things, some of this went to Gwaine's head, and he started doing tricks while slaying dragons. Some of the students who used to watch him said that he would, I said that one. Once when a sightseeing tour from London watched from a nearby hill, Gwaine calmly cut the dragon's head off with his left hand tied behind his back. Well, as such things will, all this went to the boy's head. And he had taken to doing stunts while slaying dragons. See, I'm out of whack here. He had gotten into a rather bad practice of slipping out about midnight and going down to one of the pubs and having a few glasses of ale. It was on one of these occasions that Gwaine went out in quest of his 50th dragon. His head was heavy, and that wasn't all. He had acquired a rather tasteless habit of wearing his medals into battle. They hung from his chest to his abdomen and weighed a good 8 pounds. Now, it wasn't. It was a fairly large dragon, but a rather old one, as Gwaine could tell by its wrinkled forehead. And it apparently heard about the boy, for it refused to charge. And Gwaine was forced to walk up to it. Gwaine raised the battle axe above his head, and then he slowly lowered it. What's the matter? Asked the dragon. Didn't tell you they could talk. I've forgotten the magic word, said Gawain. Oh, magic word is it, said the dragon. Doesn't seem quite fair and correct, as we used to say in me boyhood days. Perhaps I can help you, though. What does it start with? R, said Gawain. R, said the dragon. Let me see. Republican? Gawain only shook his head. Then will you surrender, said the dragon. What happens if I surrender, said Gawain. Why, I'll eat you, said the dragon. And if I don't, said Gawain, mustering his courage. Oh, I'll eat you anyway, said the dragon. The dragon waited patiently for Gawain to ask why. And Gawain was too frightened to ask why, and so eventually the dragon had to say, you see, if you don't surrender, you die game, and you taste better that way. And with that, the dragon charged. Now, in a flash, the word Grumplesnitz came to Gawain's mind. But he didn't have time to utter it. He had time only to swing the battle axe one time. The dragon's head flew through the air. Gawain didn't stay afraid very long. He had rolled the dragon's head 100 yards. Other times he'd only sent him about 25 yards, which was a new record. He cut off the ears and went back to the school and went in to the headmaster's office, sat down and said, I didn't say Rumplesnitz. I'm glad you found out, said the headmaster. You see, it wasn't really a magic word, but you once said it was, said Gawain. Well, not really. It was just something to get you over that first dragon. But all those other dragons, said Gawain, they might have crushed me like an eggshell, said the headmaster. Like an eggshell, said Gawain. All I did, he went around muttering, like an eggshell, like an eggshell, like an eggshell. Gawain didn't get up the next morning. At noon, the headmaster and the assistant professor went down to his room and found him cowering under the covers. They got him out of bed and pushed him to the edge of the forest. He'll be all right as he gets a few more dragons under his belt, said the headmaster. The assistant professor heartily agreed and added that it would be a shame to ruin such a run of luck because of Asla, the one he had killed yesterday. That would make his 50th dragon. It wasn't a very large dragon. In fact, there was just a trace of mist above the forest. But Gawain didn't come back that night, nor the next. In fact, Gawain never came back. A few days later, when some brave souls ventured out to see what had happened to the boy, they found only the metal of his metals. The dragon had even devoured the ribbons. The headmaster thought it best not to tell anyone how Gawain had come to achieve his fame. And so today, if you were to walk through the great banquet hall of the school, you would find on the wall a mighty shield, and on it are mounted the ears of 50 dragons. And below this simple inscription, in honor of Gawain Le Coeur de Hardy, he killed 50 dragons. This record has never been equaled. Yeah.
Yeah.